It's time to get some
SportSense.
You're gonna get some
SportSense.
You better get ready for
SportSense. SportSense.
Welcome back to SportSense. This is the sports show for sports noobs, and you're back with me, Cooper Epps, and my dad,
James Epps.
the one and only. That's what they say, the one and only.
I don't know what you're trying to call me, but that's nicer than I thought was coming out.
Feels like it's been a while, but the holidays kind of stretch and warp time. I was living a childhood dream.
Yeah. What was your childhood dream?
Oh, I finally got to go swim with the sharks, and
Wow.
that was absolutely the coolest thing ever and one of the best days of my life for sure. We saw a few nurse sharks and a good number of lemon sharks, which lemon sharks are kind of the classic shark, like kind of like torpedo looking, very
beautiful.
sleek, very cool.
Yeah.
But
I
kind of a
loved
yellow.
your video clips were awesome. They're bigger than I thought they were going to be, so that's pretty cool.
It was incredible. So thank you, my dear wife, who encouraged me and let me go do that. She doesn't want me to go skydiving, I think I said before, but she was okay with shark diving for some reason. But it is a lot less dangerous. So I recommend it highly to anybody who's interested. And I'm hoping you'll get your scuba license and go with me sometime, Dad.
I am definitely considering it.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Okay, good.
At least considering the scuba license, we'll see about chasing sharks particularly, but I don't know.
I will say it was kind of an intense first ocean dive. Yeah. I probably could have stood for a little bit of a warm up before doing that, but it was awesome.
But you live in Utah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I had that's the thing is I had the one shot. And so I just had to send it all the way.
I'm very impressed. Proud of you.
Thanks. Well, I'll put that aside. I could talk about it all night, but I'll put it aside to talk about some sports. So because of our week last week, I truly was off the grid. I heard only a couple college football things, and I have a little anecdote for you that I'll say later. But I was pretty off the grid. So to get us started, I truly got to ask you, Dad, what did I miss in the past week?
Well, wow. So we'll talk about college football. We'll talk about NFL real quick. And that's really all we have tonight. I've got to lead out because I promised your nephew and my grandson. So the game I cared most about and that I was watching with your brother in Atlanta in his new home, the one I was just over the top excited about, of course, didn't have anything to do with CFP, didn't have anything to do with the biggest games, but it was BYU versus Colorado. So I have to briefly,
of course,
got to, we talked about it. I mean, and I went nuts. I mean, so here's the I got to set it up briefly for our folks that maybe don't pay attention much. Let's BYU. So especially ESPN. ESPN has a love affair with Coach Prime and his sons and the Heisman winner.
Colorado.
At Colorado, right? So Colorado, all they talked about all week was Colorado. Barely mentioned much about BYU, act like they might have a chance. But basically everyone on the ESPN, when they had the votes, picked Colorado to win, except for, y'all can look at Lee Corso on game day. Lee Corso's, he's really, really old dude now, but he's the one where they have the round table. He picks up the big head and puts the mascot and puts it on his head. That's when he chooses the winner. Well, he did that.
Okay.
He's the only one that picked BYU. So anyway, all I've got to say is, CJ, you were right. He's going to listen to this. So CJ, you are absolutely right. Of course, I was right there with you. So were all the other great BYU fans. But BYU dismantled, dismembered, demolished, and destroyed Colorado in every phase of the game. Offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, they did. Wow. They honestly, Colorado looked like a JUCO team, a small college team. Wow. I mean, BYU was so prepared, and they just stopped. They could have beaten them 50-7, but they took the foot off the gas pedal and let Colorado score another one at the end. But Colorado really only scored one play, and it was a magical play, and it took magic to score. BYU was that dominating. So
that's crazy.
Goku. It was crazy. It was so cool too. And even Vegas. Remember, I told you those guys seem to know everything. Yeah. Vegas.
The odds were for Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. They were BYU was 4-point underdog, meaning they gave 4 points to Colorado. So they beat them 34-14. but it could have been, like I said, 52 easy, 52-7. But they just backed off and let a lot of different guys play the last quarter.
Well, and I know it's a team sport, but Colorado had the Heisman winner, right? Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
and,
but
didn't they have a Heisman runner-up too on their team?
No, that was it.
No?
I mean, that was really
Okay.
it. I mean, Shadur Sanders is going to be maybe the top quarterback pick in the NFL draft.
Wow.
So anyway,
So Colorado had the talent. So what happened? How did BYU handle them?
Maybe not
soundly?
depth. Maybe not the depth. They had no doubt two of the best players on the field, but BYU just, as a team, remember it takes 11 on each side. That the difference between a superstar playing basketball versus a superstar being on a team where it's really 22 plus your special team players, 35 players playing all their different responsibilities on defense, special teams, and offense. One player can't do but so much. They can be impactful, but not in basketball. You can have one player with it's 1 out of 5. They can dominate a lot. Not as but nothing like football is that's why I love it. It's a total team sport. Anyway,
it's like chess. Like the queen's the most powerful piece on the board, but you can't win with just a queen. You got the whole team. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
okay.
Way to go, CJ. We were all thrilled beyond
He
belief.
called it. Yeah, that was awesome.
All right.
Well,
Other than that,
and Deion Sanders, coach of Colorado, you said he was he looking at NFL coaching job, or what did we talk about a few weeks ago?
We talked about him possibly Dallas wanting him, the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see. He's saying he's not, but you never know.
Okay.
You never know. And right now they haven't decided if they're letting the current head coach of the Cowboys let him go or not.
Yeah.
Right now they're on the fence. So
cool.
Jones.
Well, it seems like there's some animosity towards Coach Prime, or just that he's a little controversial anyway. So it would be funny if he went to the most hated team in the NHL, right?
NHL, no, but yeah.
Or sorry, NFL.
Right, yeah,
But would it improve their image?
I think. Well, I mean, I think the ones that love Dallas would love them more. That's how I feel it. So you got to remember, they're the America's team. So anyway, they're definitely polarizing for sure, and he's a polarizing figure. Which I told you, I think he's been great for college football. I think he's awesome. But and what he did for Colorado hadn't won anything in 20-something years, 25 years. I can't remember some.
Man.
So yeah, he turned it on a dime. So very impressed with what he did. But when it was the shiny toy, and BYU was just and just to see us, I'm not talking about just win. I mean, just it was a thing of beauty. If you're a BYU fan, it was a thing of beauty.
What was the shiny toy?
Colorado.
Okay.
Prime.
But BYU brought the real meat to the game.
They did. Absolutely.
Right.
It was so
interesting. I don't know
if
meat's the right term. But.
So, they brought the beef.
All right.
They brought everything. Anyway, so that was it.
Cougs.
So that was the side thing on college. We had to mention that real quick.
Oh yeah.
But yes, what you missed. I mean, we are down to just 4 teams in the college football playoffs. It's pretty cool. But real quick, what you missed, it's interesting already. All the pundits are beating up the structure. I think you and I talked about this a little bit of how the 12 and who got the bye. Remember who got the bye, who didn't.
Yeah, it just seems like there's some growing pains in general with this new tournament setup.
Yeah, and I think they'll get the seeding better next year. I really do.
Yeah.
Because bottom line is, I think the game that just blew my mind was really good was Texas-Arizona State. Texas just let Arizona State back in the game, but it was a super close game. Went down to the wire. Crazy. I can't remember.
I heard
it 2 overtimes.
Oh, wow. Well, so I heard the crazy thing about that is that there was a field goal that should have been counted. It's still up for debate a little bit, right?
Yeah, I saw that clip, and it bounced on the right. Yeah, they would have won the game. Arizona State. It bounced on the ground and somehow flipped up and over the goalpost, the bar. And it's, I guess, it's maybe never been. I don't think it's ever been scored to win, even though in the rules, I saw that clip. The guy read the rules, and based on the rule in the college NCAA rules, it looked like it should have counted. So anyway, that was a crazy. That was freaky and crazy. So
is that just a rule that everybody just forgot about in the moment, and they're like, nope, it hit the ground, moving on?
I think that rule could have been in there for 50 years. Nobody's paid a lick of attention to it because it's never happened that I know of.
Wow.
So, but maybe it has in some minor games or something. So anyway, so that was actually probably the best competitive game of the 4. We had 4 with 8 teams that were getting down to 2 games with 4 teams. Real quick, the one I think that shocked me, but I told you before, I feel like Ohio State was probably playing about the best football right now. But remember our Ohio State-Oregon rematch?
Yep. All the Oregon fans were not looking forward to that.
Ohio State was up 34-0.
Whoa. Oh,
Ouch.
no. Did they fight back at all?
No, it was 41-21. They let them score a little bit, but complete
Wow.
utter domination. So that was a stunner. I think that was a stunner for most people. I told you before with Oregon and some of the wins and things they had, I thought, they just hadn't played the schedule that these other guys have played. Yeah. And they just got mauled and manhandled.
So do you think they just basically got lucky the first time they beat Ohio State, or what happened there?
Yeah, just Ohio State just hadn't developed. I mean, they have more than likely Ohio State has deeper talent. So through the year, you have injuries, you have attrition, you have challenges. And I think obviously Ohio State just got better and better, and they were deeper and deeper. And on that given day, Ohio State was out of their mind. I mean, they played like perfect football, and Oregon never got out of the gate. You know how that guys. They were beaten before the first half was over.
Yeah.
So anyway, crazy.
The biggest Oregon fan I know was he did not pick them to win in his bracket.
Yeah. I mean,
it seemed like the fan base was pretty defeated already before
they were worried. They were worried, and it was like I said, I felt like they should have had a bye based on proper seeding, but we'll see what happens next year. And then the next game really wasn't that competitive, and that was interesting. And I was pulling for Boise State, but Penn State bottled up. Genty, the great running back. Genty could never get on track. And Penn State, that's because Penn State's defense had an answer for everything they tried to do with Genty.
And Genty was the other Heisman runner-up, right?
Right. Oh, he's the one, that probably, would have won it almost any other year. So Penn State beat them 31-14, had control of the game, the whole game. Boise State never really threatened much once the game got going good.
Wow.
Then the last game was a little bit of a bruiser kind of game, but I was a little surprised, but not really. Once I realized when I could pick Georgia to win it all, that was when I thought they had their ace quarterback, their number 1 quarterback going to be, but he got injured the last game. So they had a guy who's never even started a college game play for Georgia. What? Quarterback. So
speaking of depth, it sounds like they didn't have much of a backup quarterback.
He's good, but you got to give him, they got to play. He hadn't played enough. I mean, he gave it a good try, but Notre Dame played really excellent defense. It's the best Notre Dame defense I've seen in probably decades. They are that good and strong, and they've developed and improved that much over the year. Remember, Notre Dame was the team that lost their first game based against to Northern.
This season they lost their first game?
Their opening game, to a team they should have beat 60-0. They lost to, and so but Notre Dame didn't lose the rest of the year. They just got better, and stronger, and they dominated Georgia. It's hard to say that as words, but they dominated Georgia. Georgia did not have the defense they've had years past. Georgia always had, like, on their defensive line, I swear they had 3 to 4 NFL linemen who were going to be NFL the next year. And this year they weren't that as strong on defense. So Notre Dame won that fairly handily, 23-10, kind of in a slow grind of a game. So what that leaves you, which is very exciting, I think, is this Friday you have Texas versus Ohio State. And that's going to be cool. That's going to be on a neutral ground. That's going to be the Goodyear Cotton Bowls. The Cotton Bowls in Texas. So that is in Texas. So not their home field, but it'll be.
Oh, but they'll have more fans probably, huh?
Should be in Texas. Well, they divide up the tickets usually and let them. And Ohio State travels really well. So we'll see what happens. So on Thursday, though, so that's Friday. On Thursday night, and I'll tell you why this is Thursday and Friday here in a second. Thursday, I think you've got a real slugfest, Penn State and Notre Dame. I don't really like either one of them, but I think they'll beat each other black and blue, and we'll see who wins. I do believe Ohio State. My prediction will be they beat Texas. And Notre Dame, Penn State, I think Notre Dame's going to beat Penn State. That'll be my pick. So Notre Dame and Ohio State's what I'm picking. The reason they're playing Thursday and Friday and not on the weekend is NFL playoffs start wild card weekend.
Yeah.
and
Well,
they dominate TV.
for sure. Okay, well, before we move to NFL,
Yeah.
I had to tell you about my anecdote with this
Tell me.
podcast.
Yeah.
So Macy and I went to Disney World last week. Oh, it was Friday, and Georgia lost Wednesday, right? Anyways, we were waiting in line for the Buzz Lightyear blaster ride, and the guy in front of us, it was just a father and a little son, and the dad had a Georgia hat on, and he was fiddling with it. I swear he was begging for attention with it. So I said, "Oh man, sorry about your boys this week." And he said, "Oh, I don't even want to talk about it." And he grumble and grumble. But then, of course, he proceeded to engage in conversation with me about it. Yeah, but it was brief, and then we got on the ride and said bye. But Macy looked at me with like really raised eyebrows, just like, "Look at you, holy cow!"
She was impressed, wasn't she?
I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I had the winning one of my brackets, so I'm bummed by that too." And anyways,
that's awesome. But good job, Coop.
Yeah, I knew who Georgia was. Knew that I knew it. Like I said, I was pretty off the grid last week, but I did hear that they had a loss. So,
well, we were visiting your brother in the Atlanta area, so I saw when I flew in and drove around all the Georgia. So, anyway, but when I was leaving, I didn't hear so much about Georgia.
Well, yeah, it was a pretty cool moment just because it was like kind of like I said, the whole goal with this podcast, I was able to just talk like a normal person. So, anyways, thanks for educating me so far. It's been great.
You've been investing, so it's great. Oh, by the way, I meant top of my notes tonight. At least we should have said Happy New Year, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's a new year since we.
This is the first episode of 2025. Well, yeah, Happy New Year. There we go. I guess that's all we have to say about that.
That's all you got to say.
Let's see. I guess we should have made some podcast resolutions, but hey, I
got none.
Yeah, me neither. We're doing great already. No, I told Macy, usually I do have some goals, and I do still have a couple personally for myself this year. But I was like, I feel like we've got a lot of great things going on. I think my goal this year is just to survive, keep it up, and with this podcast, so let's just try to keep going. I know you're afraid it's going to end as soon as our baby comes in a few months, but we're going to try to get our very best to keep it up.
No, you might beat me, but I might die off before that. No, that's good. No, your mother's always been really good about thinking about, reviewing the past and making some goals. And I'm the worst. I'm more what you just said in the beginning. I just got to keep this train moving. That's all I'm trying to do. But well, no, I did. We said a couple of things. So.
Yeah, good. And I feel like one thing I did inherit from you, I don't know, my mom might correct me, but I feel like I inherited from you like fly by the seat of your pants mentality, not necessarily feel like you got to plan everything, but just live in the moment, go day by day. And I think there's somewhere in the middle that's probably the sweet spot, but
right. Anyways. I think so, but I don't think I've ever been in the middle too well, but much to the chagrin of your mother, but that's okay. I try my best.
Well, yes. Happy New Year, everybody. Share this with your friends who you think would be interested. We'd really love to get a few more listeners here. That, like I said, it was like so magical for me to just bring up that Georgia thing to that one random guy and just feel
that really is cool.
I could participate in society. So
yeah, that is so cool.
Well, let's move into NFL like you were trying to do earlier.
Well, yeah, just real quick, only so we can have something to talk about next week. Don't worry, we'll get into basketball. I don't love NBA, but we'll still get into it. But I love college basketball, so we'll get into that here soon. The college is coming up on about mid-season, so it's starting to get interesting. Conference play is starting for NCAA basketball, so we'll get into that. We're raised right here in Tobacco Road. By the way, they always call it Tobacco Road, but that's only the people who weren't from North Carolina. Those people from TV from California or something. They made up that Tobacco Road.
Yeah, they know like two things about North Carolina.
And they like to say Tobacco Road. Yeah, that's
so what does Tobacco Road refer to? Is that just
mainly the stretch, especially from Duke, Carolina State, Wake Forest, Tobacco Road? I don't know. I don't even know where.
Are they just referring to the North Carolina college basketball heritage?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So anyway, football, NFL, I love it. It's wild card weekend. There's a lot of fun. You got a couple, of course, you got the Chiefs and the Bills and I think it's the Bills.
Oh yeah, here, I'm going to pull up the bracket and look at it with you.
Yeah, look at it because the Chiefs have the bye, right? And in the AFC. In the NFC, that's the cool. Okay, so Chiefs have the bye in the AFC. In the NFC, it goes back to our team that we've talked about all year. They played the last game of regular season last night. The Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions. And they were
Okay.
playing to see who was going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC and get the bye.
Okay.
So much was riding on the line. Whoever won got the bye week, meaning they didn't have to play the first week, right? And they get to play all the way until the championship game of the NFC at home. So the number 1 seed is massive. It's such an advantage in every way. And then they don't leave.
You get some power ups for the playoffs.
Oh my gosh. You don't have to leave home. You get a bye week and you don't have to leave home until the Super Bowl if you can keep winning.
That's crazy.
Well, that's Chiefs had that locked up last week. NFC, it was going to be either between the Lions or the Vikings. So they played last night, and the Lions handled them. They manhandled them really well. So they've got the bye. But the bad part is the Vikings have 14 wins and only 3 losses, but they dropped to the number 5 seed.
So is that you're traveling a lot, or what are the consequences?
Exactly. Yeah, you go play a better team. So for the Vikings, they got to go play the Rams, who are the number 4 seed. But so it's just and they don't get a bye week. But it was a heck of a game, and the Lions were playing at home, and they handled their business beautifully. But so the fun matchups, really good matchups. I'll hit this real quick because I know you got to go tonight.
Yeah.
Matchups, NFC, Green Bay against Philadelphia. Green Bay Packers are the 7th seed. None of this matters to y'all, but Philadelphia is number 2 seed. But
you talking about games that are coming up this weekend?
Yes, this is this weekend. So
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday. And that's why CFP is playing Thursday and Friday. As we said, they're not going to go up against wild card, playoff NFL. They would lose.
This is a huge weekend for football fans. 2
You
days
can
of
watch-
college football, 2 days
And
of
3 because they're going to play a Monday night NFL game.
Okay.
So
3 days of
there
NFL.
could be upset wives maybe, or maybe some upset husbands whose wives love to watch a ton of football. But Green Bay against Philadelphia Eagles, I think the Eagles are going to handle the Packers pretty easily. Minnesota plays Los Angeles. The Rams are playing, they're playing on Monday night. They're playing so much better, but I still think the Vikings are going to beat them. Gosh, that's a toss up to me. I don't know. And then NFC. So there's 3 games. And then it's Washington Commanders against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That, to me, might be the most fun game of them all. I mean, it's a hoot. They're going to play at Tampa Bay. Yep.
Yeah. I remember earlier in our podcast, you had mentioned the Commanders quarterback. He's one of the young, really talented, really sharp, possibly legendary quarterbacks, right?
Well, he's had one heck of a rookie year, Jaden Daniels. And so they're that's just going to be a fun game. So that'll be a lot of fun. You got scrappy Tampa Bay.
Yeah, what's up with the Buccaneers? I don't know anything about the Buccaneers this season. Are they because they had Tom Brady last year or the year before he retired?
So So they are quite the fun. Hang on, let me find they won their last 2 games in a row. They had to win. And that included that's when the Lions were resting their people. They beat the Lions. So they're 10-7. They're just scrappy and fighting. And I'm going, why am I losing my mind?
They're 10-7 and they're in the playoffs.
Yes, they won.
I'm seeing they're the number 3 seed.
Yes, because they won the division. Because guess who they're in the division with? The
Lions?
problem is, no, they're in a really bad division. So they're in with the Panthers and New Orleans Saints. Yeah, it was bad. So they eked out the win there. So let me see.
Wow, crazy.
Okay. And Atlanta and Tampa Bay were battling it out, to see who's going to win. But Baker Mayfield's their quarterback. He's such a scrappy and fighter. And then they've got a Hall of Fame wide receiver, Mike Evans. They got a lot of good players, but he's a leader. He really is the leader, and they'll follow him anywhere. So I just think you've got upstart Jaden Daniels, and the Commanders are so good. I mean, they've won more games than the Bucs. But anyway, that'll be a fun game. Cool. You got two different type quarterbacks. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield's one I've even seen on social media because I can't remember what they named him, but he did like an Uncle Drew type video where they dressed him up in old makeup and had him go to like a practice or some high school. I can't remember what it was, but
he's fun. Now he
seems like a cool guy.
And fun. He is. He's fiery and fun. All right,
cool. We're
going to run out of time, but I want to get AFC to the other 3 games.
Tell me which one you're most excited about.
Well, that first set
if you
of
games,
had to pick. Of all 6, the first 3 games, it would be the Commanders and Bucks. I can't believe I said that, but I don't know. I like them all, but that'd probably be I think it's going to be the most interesting because of the quarterbacks, right? That's what I think. AFC, we got what?
Yeah, I was gonna say in these AFC games, which one are you most excited about?
I would say, well, one's going to be like a backyard brawl. That's going to be Pittsburgh versus Ravens. I probably, because I love the Chargers. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Chargers and Texans maybe, but I like them all. Denver Broncos against the Bills. That's going to be a fun one. But probably Steelers and the Ravens. I think that's going to be the knockdown, drag out, brutal, and the Ravens are going to win. That's my prediction. I think they're going to beat them pretty good, actually.
Yeah, because that's the Lamar Jackson leading them, right? As the quarterback. Yes. Steelers, we've talked more about Lamar, or we've talked more about the Ravens and that crazy guy they have, Derrick Henry. Is that his name?
Yeah, good job, Coop.
Yeah, thank you.
Number 20.
Is he a tight end? Is that what he does?
No, he's a running back, but he is a beast.
Crazy tall guy.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, Hall of Fame running back right there.
Yeah, so I know we've just talked more about them this season than the Steelers.
And they're playing. They're playing at the Ravens too, so they're going to be crazy there. So anyway,
I'm picking Ravens too.
Yep, there you go. All six. They got 6 great games Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from the NFL, and that'll be a lot of fun to talk about next week as they start moving towards the Super Bowl. But that's all I got, really. That and there's other crazy things. There's firings going on, which always happen. They call the Monday. They call today the Monday after NFL finishes the regular season, Black Monday, because that's when everybody gets fired. And there's usually 6 or 7 coaches fired every year in the NFL. So
wow. So when an NFL coach gets fired, I mean that's the top of. I mean you're already doing the best. I guess what I'm saying is you peaked. You made it as an NFL coach. Or at least you became an NFL coach. So what happens there? Because I mean, now there's a vacuum. Is it just a mix up of all those coaches, or do they go down to college, or do they retire? What happens?
Some retire. There's a lot of them that drop down. If let's say they were an offensive coordinator before head coach, a lot of them have been a great offensive coordinator. And they go back to being an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. There's a few that drop back out to college, like the Panthers coach they fired. They've sent him over, I think, to Oklahoma is where he played. No, Nebraska. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, Chris. Nebraska is where he coaches. It's a mixed bag of what they do afterwards. Yeah. Quite often they get another chance a few years down the road to come back to be a head coach at another team. So it's a variety of directions they go.
I was just wondering, are you so they're not like blacklisted as you're a bad coach, you're out of chances, like you just go and you climb the ladder back up again.
Yeah, maybe. Pretty much. Then you might get a second time. Then if you stink, then and don't. But so many times it has to do with the team they inherit, right? How good's their general manager? How good's their roster? Sometimes it's just a little bit of luck, and then sometimes you're just really good, like. Jim Harbaugh he had a great quarterback in the LA Chargers. That's why I love watching them play. But he's got the Midas touch when it comes to turning around football programs, either in college or the NFL. So so a coach can do it. But anyway, all right, man, you got to get out the door.
Oh, I do. But okay. So last thing is that I heard that there was a player on Georgia's bench who was standing on the sidelines and a ref ran into him and the ref gave Georgia a 15-yard penalty. And I hear Georgia fans are like, oh, that's why we lost. And they're coming after this kid, apparently.
No.
Did you hear about this?
He's an inactive player, so he didn't have pads on. So he's just watching the game. And so he interfered in the play. Anytime you're that close to the edge of the field and the ref, you take out the ref, that's a 15-yard penalty. That's an interference of anybody, it'd be a coach or anybody else. But no, they didn't want to cost them the game. They cost them. Yeah. They had a lot of other problems. But yes, that did happen, and that is very unusual to see that call. Somebody who gets that close, and they should have known better. But
poor guy.
Kids. Yeah, don't forget, these are kids, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, sounds like this poor guy's getting a lot of heat online, so hopefully they lay off him a little bit. But
they need to. They got a lot bigger problems than that. So
yeah, the kid just wanted a good view. Come on, give him a break.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much, Dad. Yeah, so just to wrap it up, we're coming into the final games of the college football playoffs, and we'll have the championship next week. After will we talk about that next episode?
Yes, we will. We'll see it. Yes, that'll be the following weekend. Let's see. The championship day is January 20th.
Okay. All right. So get geared up. I'm thinking it's going to be Ohio State versus Penn State. and
That's-
I think Ohio's gonna take it all the way, and we're gonna have to deal with a bunch of annoying Ohio fans the next year.
Oh, now say Ohio State. Don't
Oh,
ever just
Ohio
say
State.
Ohio. Yeah,
Sorry,
remember
there you go.
that's the big no-no.
Don't want to
Yeah.
mess that up.
Right.
And
You
and then
did
we're
good-
just
you did good. Hey, you did good with your Georgia fan. Now don't
thank
get
you.
cocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
yeah. Remember Ohio State. Okay.
All right. Yeah, and then we're starting NFL playoffs, so lots to be excited
Exactly.
about, or at least to pretend to be excited about in your conversations this week. And
Exactly.
thanks so much, Dad. I'll hit you with a pops quiz next week, but you get a bye week.
I'll
today.
be ready for you too.
All right, sounds good.
Hi, Coop.
All right, see you, Dad.
See you, Coop.
SportSense.